She was attacked by an armed robber. What happened between them changed both lives. They say some stories are too dark to tell, but silence is how pain survives. Tonight's story is not about romance. It is about trauma, manipulation, guilt, accountability, and the long, difficult road to healing. This story explores survival and the confusing psychological bonds that can form after violence. The crime is never excused. The pain is never minimized. This is her story. Before that night, Amara believed her life was predictable. She worked late shifts at a neighborhood pharmacy, walked the same route home, greeted the same security guard who always dozed off by midnight. Her world was small, but it was safe, or so she thought. That night, rain fell hard, turning the streetlights into blurred halos. The generator across the road coughed and died, plunging the block into darkness. Amara tightened her jacket and quickened her steps. She never heard him approach. A voice, low, shaking, desperate, cut through the rain. "Don't scream." A cold object pressed into her side. A gun. Her body froze before her mind could react. He dragged her into an unfinished building nearby. No lights. No witnesses. Just concrete walls and fear thick enough to choke. What happened next is something Amara would later describe only in fragments, because trauma doesn't arrive in clean sentences. The robbery came first. The violence followed. And when it was over, he ran, leaving her on the floor with her life still beating inside her chest, but shattered into pieces she didn't yet know how to gather. Amara didn't scream for help immediately. Shock is quiet. She washed her hands until her skin burned. She changed clothes 3 times. She sat on her bed staring at the wall until morning light crept in like an unwanted guest. At the police station, her voice trembled as she spoke. The officers were professional, but the questions felt endless. Each one peeled another layer off her dignity. They told her the truth no one wants to hear. Cases like this are hard to solve. Days turned into weeks. Sleep abandoned her. Food tasted like dust. Every shadow looked like him. But worse than the fear was the confusion. Her mind replayed moments she hated herself for remembering. The sound of his voice cracking, his hands shaking, the way he kept saying, "I'm sorry," even as he hurt her. Her therapist would later explain it. Your brain is trying to make sense of something that should never have happened. 3 months later, Amara received a call. They had caught him. His name was Malik, 26 years old, unemployed, living between friends' couches, carrying a gun he didn't own. At the lineup, Amara's hand shook so badly she had to sit down. She identified him immediately. Malik didn't look at her. He looked smaller than she remembered. Thinner. Broken in a different way. He pleaded guilty. The judge sentenced him to a long prison term. When the gavel hit the wood, Amara thought she would feel relief. Instead, she felt empty. 6 months into his sentence, Amara received a letter from the prison. She almost threw it away. Almost. Inside was a single page, written in uneven handwriting. "I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I just need you to know I carry what I did every day. I am not asking you to respond." She read it once. Then again. Her therapist warned her. Contact could reopen wounds. But trauma doesn't always listen to logic. Amara wrote back. Not with kindness. Not with hate. With truth. She told him exactly what he had done to her life. Their letters became structured, monitored, supervised, and strictly non-romantic. Malik never justified his actions. He described growing up with violence as language. How desperation had blurred right and wrong until everything felt numb. But he also wrote something that haunted Amara. "I didn't see you as a person that night. And that is the worst thing I've ever done." For the first time, someone acknowledged the full weight of what happened. That mattered more than she expected. Her therapist named it carefully. Trauma bonding does not mean love. It means the brain seeks control where there was none. Still, Amara felt calmer after reading his letters. That scared her. After a year of therapy, Amara made a decision no one understood. She asked for a supervised visitation. Across a thick glass wall, Malik sat in prison gray. "I won't ask you for anything," he said quietly. "You owe me nothing." She looked at him and realized something painful. He would never be more than what he had done, and she would never be only what had been done to her. That day, she told him something she had never said out loud. "I don't forgive you, but I'm choosing not to let you define my life." He cried. She didn't. When people later heard pieces of her story, they twisted it. She fell in love with him, they said. But love does not grow from terror. What Amara felt was closure forming where chaos once lived. She stopped writing letters. She started volunteering with survivors. She spoke publicly about trauma bonding, how dangerous it is to mistake emotional relief for affection. Malik remained in prison. He entered rehabilitation programs, education, accountability circles. He never contacted her again. That was part of respecting her healing. Years later, Amara stood on a stage, telling her story. She said something the room never forgot. Healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means choosing yourself again and again, even when your mind tries to confuse survival with love. She never called what happened redemption. Justice had happened. Growth followed. But scars remained. And that was okay. Some stories are not meant to comfort. They are meant to educate. If you or someone you know has experienced violence, know this. Confusion after trauma does not make you weak. It makes you human. And choosing healing is the bravest act of all.